Good evening. We'll start the meeting, June the 4th meeting. We're going to have the invocation by Reverend Dorsey. Come up to the mic, and then we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Wilson. Please stand. Right up.
Let us pray. The powers that be, you have ordained this meeting to be. And looking at the agenda for tonight, we ask that the guidance be given and that will be done. We thank you for who you are. In his name we pray. And all the people who believe say amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Brunson is absent. Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner is absent. Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Presentations and proclamation. We have a proclamation here for small cities. I'm going to read it. Whereas small cities and towns under 50,000 population are the home to millions of Americans and constituents, the vast majority of municipalities across the United States. And whereas small cities and towns strive to strengthen their communities through the provision of services and programs to improve the quality of life for all citizens. And whereas the federal government is an essential partner in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to support programs and legislation that strengthen small communities. And whereas state governments are partners in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to support key programs and legislation that strengthen communities. And whereas organizations, business, and citizens are partners in the success of small cities and towns and must be encouraged to continue to grow their efforts to make small communities a viable choice for people to live in. And whereas during these challenging economic times, the need for a renewed intergovernmental partnership to support essential public services is more important than ever to ensure the safety and growth of small towns America. And whereas the National League of Cities President and the Small Cities Council of the National League of Cities have declared June 2019 as Small Cities Month. Now therefore, the City Commission of the City of Ocoee does hereby proclaim June 2019 as Small Cities Month and encourage President Trump, Congress, state governments, organizations, businesses, and all citizens to recognize this event and to work together this month and throughout the year to invest in small cities and towns to better the lives of all citizens. In witness whereof I hereto have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Ocoee, Florida to be affixed this 4th day of June 2019. Rusty Johnson, Mayor. All right. Staff reports.
No staff reports this evening, Mayor.
All right. Commissioners' announcements. Commissioner Oliver.
Okay, well, since this is probably the better time than any to make this announcement is since we barely have a quorum today, or almost, or lack thereof. I'm actually looking to have a discussion to create an administrative order to guide guidelines for the commissioners to cast absentee ballots or votes via phone or electronic media in the event that they cannot attend commission meetings due to extraordinary circumstances. So I'm asking that we maybe do some research, ask the city clerk and the city attorney to provide us with information about being able to provide such a administrative order for those that cannot attend due to those extraordinary circumstances.
All right. I want the, you want to make a comment on that?
Sure. I have looked at this. Florida law does allow attendance by electronic means, phone or video, under two conditions. One, that there is a quorum present, physically present, and two, if it's determined that the absence is a extraordinary circumstance. The Attorney General has given an opinion on what extraordinary circumstance means, the Florida Attorney General, and that is an illness or a disability. If it was something beyond an illness or a disability, it would be up to the City Commission to determine that whatever the absence is rises to the level of a significant or a good enough reason for an absence. The reason behind that, I think, is really the obligation to hold meetings open in the sunshine in front of residents that have opportunities to question or ask questions of the City Commission. It really dictates that the commission be there in person when at all possible. So it's only in extraordinary circumstance that you would get away from that idea of being physically present at a meeting. And I can circulate the Attorney General opinion that talks about this for the entire board to review, but that's my understanding of the law and my and I can send that out to you.
Yeah, you need to send that to everybody, but, so, Commissioner Wilson, you got any comments on that?
No, I guess I was under the assumption, I think that it was extraordinary circumstances, maybe medical, things of that nature, but being away for vacation and things of that nature, I did not think that was warranted. So,
The case that came before to determine extraordinary circumstance was a board down in Miami where one of the members of the board was physically disabled and was not able to physically attend meetings, but was on the board, and they made exception for that. So that's what the Attorney General looked at that circumstance and said that was an extraordinary circumstance, that this was a member of the board physically not able to attend the board meetings.
I know that. I do know that back in 2004, I had open heart surgery and was gone for probably 4 weeks. I think it was something like that, but I had out one meeting. I missed one meeting because I was in the hospital at the time with surgery, so open heart surgery, so that's it. I mean, for sickness, well, I think what he said is, Commissioner Oliver, is sickness, have to be real sick, and also a handicap is what it says in the thing. So it's kind of hard it'd be hard not to do it and do that and not be here. So I guess what we can do is wait till we get 2 more people here. So I didn't know Commissioner Brinson wasn't going to be here tonight. I know Commissioner Firstner's in Germany. So.
Yeah, and again, the whole premise is based on the Attorney General's opinion. It's actually based on a member being disabled or some extenuating circumstances that is beyond their control, that may be due to a medical illness or some catastrophic event that happens in their lives that they want to be able to continue to serve the citizens as well as take care of their extraordinary circumstances at the same time. So
Yeah.
the whole premise of that was based on the Attorney General's opinion, as well as a couple of the cities that had already adopted that means of voting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think he's saying that.
Yeah.
That was up in our agenda thing the other day. I think what he's saying is, that's what he's saying is illness or handicap is what they're saying.
Yeah.
So he can send you that, send it to everybody.
Yeah, I'll do
Then
that.
we can talk about it again when, we'll talk about it when I don't know how long. I think Firstner's going to be gone a couple of weeks. All right, anything?
No, that's it.
All right, next one will be Commissioner Wilson. Anything on, you got?
no, just, I think I'm going to say this from the very beginning. We have boards that are within the city, and there are boards that have openings, and they're always of interest, and you may want to enjoy. I know I'm the liaison to the Parks and Recreation Board, and they have openings on that. If people are interested, please contact the city clerk, fill out an application. That's where I started when I first came into the city, was being on that board, and I thought it was enjoyable. It's a great way to meet people in the city or your boards, meet other residents, find out what's going on. So please think about joining some of the boards that we have, and they are on the website, or the clerk has all the information regarding which boards have openings. Thank you.
All right. I don't have any at this time. I'll wait till the end of the meeting. Now we go to consent agenda. Anybody have any comments or want to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I would like to, I'm sorry, my laptop just
Got a
turned off.
question on number 4.
I just have a question, and I just have a question on number 4. So I don't know if we want to pull it and then vote.
If it's, do you want us to pull it, or you want to discuss it and then vote on all of it?
I'll explain what I'm,
All right, let's pull it, and then we'll vote on the rest, and then we can,
okay.
if you have any more, you have anything on any other? Do you have any on any other, Commissioner Oliver?
Yeah, just number 6.
We'll pull 4 and 6 to discuss. All right, we have 4 and 6 pulled. Anybody want to make a motion on the others to be approved?
I make a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda items.
I'll second that.
Motion made to, without 4 and 6 being pulled, to talk, to approve the rest. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. All right, let's vote. That's approved by 3, let's see, 3 of those, 2 absent. All right, on number 4, Commissioner Wilson.
Just one of my questions is, will these positions be filled by residents of Ocoee? That's the only question I have. I don't know if Rob can
Yes,
answer
ma'am.
that,
That's-
or?
that's the way I
read it. It
understand
says
it.
City of Ocoee.
Yes.
Does it say, I did not read into that it said that they would be filled by residents of
No,
Ocoee.
it said,
It did?
yes.
Okay, just want to clarify that. That's the only,
Don't you have that, city clerk? I'll get it out in a minute. City clerk, you passed one out to me. Maybe you ought to give one of them to everybody's box on the summer program.
is that what's on
Now,
our,
is this the one that you're doing?
this is being handled through Workforce,
It's through Career Source. Yeah.
Central Florida.
Yeah, this one's through Career Source.
But I couldn't see where it said that. That's why I was just wondering that.
You know, there
This
were
is not-
actually,
This
there
is-
were actually 2 different
Huh?
presentations, and I
This is
think,
not the teenager, this is the other one, that guy from, yeah, that one I haven't seen. You got that, Rob, I haven't seen that.
there was an attachment, the slide presentation that they gave to us that night that explains the program, that it's for Ocoee residents.
Okay, so are we sure that's built into this?
I can make sure it is
Okay.
as we proceed.
Oh, okay, that's the one we do the 3. We do
No, this
3
is with-
people.
Right, and we have 3 additional
Yeah.
appointments.
3
on top.
additional slots for, right. But just wanted to ensure that was, because I did not see it on the presentation that's on our agenda.
And that may have been an oversight. I know the city clerk had one version that was presented at a commission meeting, and then one was emailed to me. They were similar, and I think there was just a couple of different bullets that may have differed on 2 of them, but we can make sure that happens.
Okay, I have no, otherwise, thank you.
We do this one.
Just want to clarify.
Do you need to read these? Nothing to read here. But I have to pull these up. All right. All right, so what, maybe, Rod, we can give them a copy of, is there copies for everybody?
Yeah, are you speaking of, I know the city clerk had a second handout. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I was talking about the first one with the youth, but there's 2 youth deals. I think she's talking about the one I was talking to you about the other day. We can pick 3 people. But that one, I haven't read that.
We don't pick them. This is a contract through
Yeah, we get,
Career
But
Source that they
the
will
city can
hire
put
the
forth-
children.
Yeah, we
The
get to
city
pick
can
Not
put
children,
forth,
sorry, the teenagers,
Yeah.
excuse me.
the city can put forth 3 that aren't going to be subject to the Career Source guidelines also.
Okay, but I was just concerned that, that was a question I had, thank you.
all right. So would you like to get a copy of it from Melody or something, or Rob, and read it? Or-
They can send it to me,
Okay,
that's
all right.
fine, thank you, but as long as that's part of the agreement, you want to pull that one, make a motion on that one?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve item 4.
Motion made by Commissioner West, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Let's vote. All right, motion carries 3 votes, 2 absent. All right, number 6, Commissioner Oliver.
Yep, number 6, I did a little, just a little research on number 6, on the predictive crime analysis. I want to see if I can get maybe Chief to talk a little bit about that part. It was very interesting. I like the program. I agree with it. It gives our citizens an idea of what happens while our officers are out on patrol. And I just wanted to maybe kind of talk a little bit about that program. Again, I like the program. I love it. I did some research on it, and I just think it'd be a great idea if we were to just kind of let those that may be watching later know a little bit more about that particular program and how it works.
Okay. For the record, my name is Steve McCosker, Deputy Chief of Police. I'll be speaking on behalf of Chief Brown on this topic. I was part of the team that researched Predpol for the police department. Basically, what you're seeing happen, what the request that's before you is that we're asking for money to be transferred from a current product that we do not use, which is the Esri product, which had run our crime mapping before. So if you went onto our website and you used our crime mapping that is for the public to use, our records management system handles that now, and so we don't need the other product anymore. However, with the Predpol, we are able to do a lot of things that we aren't able to do with our current records management system. So to give you a brief overview, what happens is that our cars that patrol the city are equipped with AVL, Advanced Vehicle Location. So basically your GPS pucks are placed into the car, and the officers go out, and so this allows us to go ahead and know where the officers are, God forbid anything happens to them, but it also tracks their movement. So what Predpol does is it goes ahead and maps where the officers are actually patrolling the city. That's one part of the equation for Predpol, which we currently didn't have with the other product. So we as administration can go ahead and check to make sure that the city is being patrolled fairly and equally throughout, so that the citizens are all getting the equal protection. The second part of it is that it takes the past record from the records management system. It looks over at least a minimum of 3 years, and what it does is it creates for lack of a better term, a heat map of where the more concentrated crimes are, and it puts an emphasis on the past 3 months. So you're getting, it looks at the big picture, and then it focuses on what's going on right now. And what it does is it creates a 500 by 500 box onto those maps. We can go ahead and, as administration, decide what we want to focus on. So like one of the trends that you see us focusing on Facebook right now is our 9 p.m. Lock your car doors reminder, because right now we're experiencing car jigglers, which is happening throughout Florida. And so what this does is that we could put that into the program that we want to check out car burglaries, and it will tell us exactly where we should focus our efforts on. And so what's really different about this product compared to other products that we have seen is that you have that overlay now. So we can go in as an administration and check, one, to see where we should put our officers, and then in addition to that, we could check the next day and see where our officers were at, and actually tell how much time they spent within those particular boxes that were predicted to have crimes. And so it allows us to use our resources more efficiently. And those are really the high points of why we want to go ahead and use this product and what we expect to use it for.
I think it's a wonderful product. It creates those algorithms. From what I read, it creates these algorithms, gives you an idea as to how to predict where crime hotspots may be in the city, and allow officers to patrol those areas a little bit more. And I think it gives the citizens an idea of what the officers are doing. They're not at donut shops, and they're not sitting around at the BP gas station. They're actually patrolling based on using these predictive analysis on crime. So I just think it's a great program, and kudos to you guys for adopting this.
Thank you,
All right.
Commissioner.
Stay away from the
All right,
station.
you want to make a motion to pass it?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to make a motion that we pass item 6 on the consent
All
agenda.
right, motion
Second.
made by Commissioner Oliver for item 6. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Let's vote. All right, item carries. Thank you. Real quick before we move on to the next section here, I will, Mr. Dorsey was on the, we passed the thing on the consent. He's our new Human Diversity Board member, Mr. Dorsey there that led our prayer. So welcome aboard, and thank you very much for participating. Thanks, sir. Thursday nights, I meet. All right. And also, the comment sheets where I got comments from a couple people, we've moved the comment section to the end of the meeting. So that'll be after we get through doing the regular meeting, we'll have the comment section. I'll call on you, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Atkins at the end, and we have one more too. Ms. Alexander? Okay, all right. Item number 9, Greens at Forest Lake Plan Unit Development, PUD, Phase 1 and 2, large-scale preliminary and final subdivision plan, project number LS 2019-002.
Thanks, Mayor. This is the final
Rumor.
step in this 198-unit townhome development. Originally, we had to change the land use, a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment back in 2018. The property is located at the end of this new West Road we built next to the Arbors Apartments, and you have the charter school. It's adjacent to the 429. We changed the land use back in 2018 to medium density to establish a townhome development from Meritage Homes. You have the West Orange Trail on the west side, 429 on the east side. The item before you is approving the construction plans for the 198-unit townhome development. It has a amenity park, access to the trail. The home builder is asked to kind of consider 2 phases to the project. It's just kind of how it falls within their fiscal year, but they're building all the infrastructure in phase 1, and we'll just start building units as they sell them. And they have received St. John's Water Management District approval, Orange County Utilities approval to cross the trail from Orange County. So staff recommends approval of the phase 1 and 2 of the Greens at Forest Lake townhome development. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to open it to the public hearing. It's now open in the public. Anybody in the public have any comments to make on that issue there? I don't even think they're here. So, all right, we'll close the public hearing and bring it back. I need a motion for a large-scale preliminary final subdivision plan.
Does he need to read something?
Nope,
No?
already checked that.
Make the motion. I'll make the motion to approve.
I just have a quick question. What does the infrastructure look like for the phase 1? What does the infrastructure look like in phase 1? I know you mentioned that they already set plans for it. What does it actually
Yeah, on this slide,
consist of?
the shaded back is what they're calling phase 1. The darker lots are phase 2. So they'll build everything at one swoop. It's those lots that are bolded, or what they're considering the phase 2 lots.
Does the infrastructure, does it come out beyond the actual development itself? Does it
No,
go
so-
anything? Does it go beyond that, as far as roads and
Right.
and access and those kind of things?
So they're bordered to the east by the 429. One aspect of this project, if I can find a good slide to show you, is this finger, which is the developer owns. They are dedicating it. They're giving the city this land. It's about 30 feet. It's not wide enough for a public road. We have a remnant of, this is also called West Road Drive right here. It's built to the entrance of the charter school. This is a future secondary access. All we have the ability to control right now is this spike strip that the developer is deeding to the city, giving it to us. And at such time as the parcel, this parcel develops, we can get the other 20 foot and we'll be able to finish a road through here and have a secondary access. As part of this subdivision plan approval, oops, I went too far. The infrastructure is going to be building the road across the trail. The internal streets are public. They're built to a city standard, 50-foot width in design. And then there's a loop road that comes through. They're dedicating this spike strip to us. They're going to stabilize it so it can be used for emergency access in the time being, until such time as we can acquire land on the north and the south.
If memory serves me correct, is there a school near there?
There's a charter
school.
There's a charter school.
Yes,
and
there's
like
a charter school
Is there
right
like a bus crossing or anything that in that area?
Yeah, charter school does not bus.
Okay, all right.
There is a apartment complex right here, which may have a bus come in and pick up in its entryway, but it's a large entryway.
All right. Any more comments? If not, I need a motion. Did you make the motion?
I made the motion,
All right,
yes.
I need a second.
A second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Oliver for the large-scale preliminary final subdivision plan. Let's vote. Motion carries with 3 votes, 2 absent. All right, the next is the development agreement. We don't have to have a public hearing. I need a motion for the development agreement.
Oh, in that same,
All right.
okay, make the motion.
Make a motion by Commissioner Wilson. Make the
Second.
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Let's vote. Carries 3 votes, 2 absent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're here. That's it. Let's move on to number, we put it on the back.
Very.
Number 10, request for variance for alley property, 919 Marlene Drive, case number VR 19-01, City Planner Rumor.
Yes, we have a variance. This is a variance request, which is a seeking relief from a setback. This would be the side yard setback. The property is on the south side of Marlene Drive. Existing single-family home. The applicant is requesting relief to the eastern side yard setback. Under the R1 zoning designation, the side yard setback is 7.5 feet. The applicant is requesting a variance to a 5-foot side yard setback. This is in order to construct a garage addition to the house, and I'll show you that here. This is the existing house, and I drew a little box to kind of show you where he's looking to put a garage addition onto the house, which would extend east up to a 5-foot setback. There is a utility easement on that side, a 5-foot utility easement. So he's requesting to build, and the applicant's here. It's not he's not requesting to buy like a shed and put it next to the house. This garage addition would be built off the house with like materials and built over to the east. So he's requesting a variance from 7.5 foot to 5 foot.
Yeah. No, nothing to read.
Nothing to read. All right, I'm gonna open it up for the, in the public hearing. And if Mr. Alley wants to talk, you can come up to the podium, give us your name, and then just explain a little about it.
My name is Muhammad Ali. I live at 1408 Vickers Lake Drive, Ocoee, Florida, 34761. For the past 17 years. It's the longest time I have ever lived in one place. I love Ocoee, and I plan to stay here until the good Lord calls for me. I will now tell you why. Most things are close by, like banks, hospitals, pharmacies, groceries, etc., etc. And especially the quick access to the expressways, like the 408, 429, and the Turnpike. This makes driving easier, something I love to do. I have driven to 38 of the 50 states, and I hope to cover the remainder sometime soon. Having said this about Ocoee, my reason for appearing before you, ladies and gentlemen, this evening is to request a variance from 7.5 feet to 5 feet on the eastern side of my property at 919 Marlene Drive, where my son is living, so that I can build and attach a one-car garage on the eastern side of the property to house his car and to enhance the property, and most of all, to keep the uniqueness of the properties in the street. I have pictures of most of the houses in the street. I also have signatures of neighbors saying they have no objection to this extension. I humbly seek your indulgence in this matter, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Alley. Anybody else in the public have any comments pertaining to Mr. Alley's request. I'll open up, I'll close it, bring it back to the dais. I happened to go to the public, we call it Planning and Zoning Board meeting that night. I hadn't been to one in a long time, so I was sitting there. This was our first test case for, the Planning and Zoning Board did the, first on the variance where we combined them. And, so I think you have some pictures where there's other houses that have added the garage, and most of the houses, does he have the pictures?
Yes.
Yeah, and I can
Show 'em.
attest, and I took this picture to show you, a lot of times they've had, the original house had the one-car garage that they enclosed as a bedroom. In this house, I just don't see, I don't think it ever had a garage. I don't know where the square footage went to, because it's, if you look at the survey, but the other houses around it all have at least one-car garage. And from the survey here, the house takes up pretty much close to the width of the lot, just didn't have a garage. And so, under a normal permit, if he wanted to build this extension, he would have to meet 7.5 feet. By seeking a variance and having that approval letter, the city then, upon a permit to build an extension to the house, could go up to that 5 foot by receiving the variance request. If, when he comes in for a building permit, we review it, if it's different than what the city commission approved and saw at the public hearing, then we would have them, we would reject the permit and say you need to either modify or come back through for a variance.
Mr. Ali, I know we spoke a while ago before you ever started the variance. But since you started this process, did you have any neighbors? Are the neighbors in agreement, or has there been anyone objecting to it?
Yes, I have signatures of the neighbors.
But are they agreeing, or do you have some that are disputing it?
Mike,
They have no objection to it.
No
you
one
need
has.
to put the signatures you have, Mr. Alley, you need to turn them into Mike. He has all the neighbors' signatures.
Okay, so no one's objecting to it?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Any more?
Not for me, no, that's just,
Comment?
oh,
Yeah, I think you mentioned that there are other homes in the area that has the single-car garage, same model,
Yeah.
on
Yes,
the
they
same
just-
street perhaps?
They just meet the 7.5 foot setback with that single-car garage.
Gotcha.
a lot of those homes up there do have carports or garages.
One of y'all want to make a
don't
motion?
they? Does this need to go into the record? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you can put it in the
Okay.
record.
I'll be happy to make that motion to approve the variance.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson to approve.
Seconded.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliver. We're going to put this list of names of the neighbors into the record. Mr. Ali, okay?
Thank you.
All right, let's vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, send that down. All right, let's see where we at now. We're at first reading of ordinance for Rustique, 11077 Robeson Road annexation, small-scale comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning to commercial. Where'd Rumor go?
This is first reading, I'll just read it.
Yeah, okay, all right.
All right, this is three separate ordinances. The first one is an annexation ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately 2.88 acres located on the north side of Roberson Road, approximately 280 feet west of the intersection of McGuire Road and Roberson Road, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, and the Joint Planning Area Agreement. Providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for an effective date. The Comp Plan Amendment Ordinance, this is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted September 18, 1991 by ordinance number 91-28 as amended. Amending the future land use map of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to change the future land use designation from professional office and service to commercial for certain real property containing approximately 2.88 acres located on the north side of Roberson Road, approximately 280 feet west of the intersection of McGuire Road and Roberson Road, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city future land use map, repealing conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And the rezoning ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County A1 to Ocoee C3, general commercial, on certain real property containing approximately 2.88 acres located on the north side of Roberson Road, approximately 280 feet west of the intersection of McGuire Road and Roberson Road, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, we will not open the public hearing. This is just the first reading. It will come back on June the 18th, where we'll open it up to the public for public discussion. All right, move on to number 12, first reading of ordinance for homes in partnership, 340 13th Avenue, annexation and rezoning. That's the same thing. No public hearing tonight. You want to read that?
Yep. This is the annexation ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately .17 acres located on the south side of 13th Avenue, west side of Peters Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for an effective date. And the rezoning ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County R2 to City of Ocoee R1 on certain real property containing approximately .17 acres located on the south side of 13th Avenue, west side of Peters Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner. Finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. And this is two separate tracks, right, Mike? I think we have a separate annexation ordinance and a rezoning ordinance for each of the two tracks.
You have to read anything else?
Yeah. Let me read the annexation ordinance and rezoning ordinance for 330 13th.
Well, that's the next one, yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, that's another one that's separate from this. They'd have it on mine. It was at 13. I mean, we can bundle them all
Okay, no,
together.
that's fine. Let's continue.
All right, this one here, we'll commence to have the first reading for tonight. Second reading will be June the 18th, and then we'll open it up to the public. We're going to now move over to the next one on the same area for first reading of ordinance for homes in partnership, 330 13th Street.
Gotcha. All right, this is the annexation ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, annexing into the corporate limits of the City of Ocoee, Florida, certain real property containing approximately .17 acres located on the south side of 13th Avenue, west of Peters Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding said annexation to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, the Ocoee City Code, providing for and authorizing the updating of official city maps, providing direction to the city clerk, providing for severability, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for an effective date. And the rezoning ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, changing the zoning classification from Orange County R2 to City of Ocoee R1 on certain real property containing approximately .17 acres located on the south side of 13th Avenue, west side of Peters Avenue, pursuant to the application submitted by the property owner, finding such zoning to be consistent with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, providing for and authorizing the revision of the official city zoning map, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
All right, same thing. First reading tonight, second reading will be June the 18th, and we'll open it up for the public there. All right, now we're going to move on to the second reading of ordinances. Number 14, second reading of ordinance amending Chapter 180, Article 5 of the Land Development Code, LDC, to add Section 5 through 20, establishing a local exemption to allow dogs in designated areas of public food service establishments, and adoption of a resolution amending Exhibit A, fine and fee schedule. Deputy Development Services Director, CRA Administrative Quarters.
Mayor, Commissioners, I'm here to present the City of Ocoee's dog-friendly restaurant program. And yes, we did have a lot of fun when we stopped talking about dogs, but we also have to take this very seriously as we look to the ordinance of creating programs. Little background, there's over 60 million households in America that have at least one dog. And there's been a cultural shift as relates to how we treat our dogs, that being that many of us want to take our dogs wherever we can. The hospitality industry has really jumped on the understanding of this cultural shift, especially as it relates to hotels and restaurants across the nation, of having now you can take your pet to certain hotels, which before was difficult, as well as restaurants. Being an economic development tool, actually Florida was the first state in the United States to actually establish or enact legislation allowing outdoor dining for dogs. I'm not saying this, it's actually allowing outdoor dining with you and your dog. So it's not just drop your dog off and you get to go somewhere else with that. But understanding it's also an economic initiative tool. If you go to such places as bringfido.com, you'll see that in Central Florida alone, there are over 300 identified pet-friendly or dog-friendly, exactly, restaurants in the local area. The West Orange Chamber of Commerce, understanding it's an economic tool, actually created an advocacy initiative last year to increase the number of dog-friendly restaurants in our area. The City of Orlando, Winter Garden, Winter Park, and even Oakland, which has no restaurants, has all adopted ordinances to be able to have dog-friendly dining. Now, the state statute that allows us to proceed with creating an ordinance, actually a program, is State Statute 509.233. And it really is an exemption procedure that allows or gives the local governments the opportunity to create outdoor dining areas within what's called public food service establishments, or really our restaurants with that. And this does require us, if we proceed with this program, to actually codify the provisions of the dog dining program in our land development code. So in your package, we actually are presenting to you an amendment to the land development code. The ordinance that you have in your package is actually to amend Chapter 180, Article 5, Section 520, dog-friendly restaurants. And by state statutes, we actually organize the ordinance to make sure we're complying with state statutes, have definitions, permit requirements, and also general regulations. I'd like to say that this ordinance was actually created with input from the police department, from code enforcement, from building, as well as planning, to make sure we're addressing all the different issues, because it does apply citywide. It's not contained to a city district or anything such as the redevelopment area or downtown. It is citywide. It is restricted to outdoor dining areas, which must be designated as dog-friendly. Now, permit requires, we are going to be requiring an annual permit, such as when you come in to get your business tax receipt. The proposed fee is $100. It's actually kind of the average fee that's within the state for that annual permit. Now, the ordinance goes back and actually requires or gives the information that must be provided in the permit application, from not just your contact information, but all the way down to making sure you have your state licenses up to date, and including a diagram showing the location and configuration of the outdoor dining area, including the placements of signs that are required by the state statute, as well as the ordinance, and the dog waste removal kit and its location. There are general regulations, and when dog owners that are coming into an area must understand those regulations, but even more important are those servers that are coming in actually providing the service to that area. It's important that each of our establishers understands the requirements or regulations, such as dogs are not permitted on the furniture. It's actually amazing how many photos I went to find or saw dogs sitting on furniture in restaurants and decided, I'm not going to put those in this presentation. But those are things that we have to be conscious of, especially with enforcement. Also, you can't eat food right off the customer's plate. Now, if somebody were to bring their own doggy dish, this is actually in the ordinance and have had of other issues. Or a restaurant can have a dog water bowl, but it must be labeled or signed as a dog water bowl only with that components. It's also important that from the sanitation process, you actually, by state statute, has to include a bottle of hand sanitizer on each of the tables in the outdoor dining area. Dog waste access must be cleaned off immediately. In fact, we've added into our ordinance that the location of the kit, which would include disinfectant as well as dog waste bags, must be within 10 feet of the doggy dining area. Signs are required at the end. This is very important too from state statutes. Signs are required at the entrance to the outdoor doggy dining area. So as you're going into the gate to the outdoor dining area, I must have a sign that says dog friendly. So you're warning also people from a standpoint that may not whether they're allergic or may not partake to liking dogs, letting them know that there's dogs in this area. There also must be a sign on the front door of the establishment that says that dogs are not permitted to come inside. We put it with that. And in the back areas for our employees that must understand the guidelines, those guidelines I kind of discussed earlier in the regulations. They must be trained in signs reminding them from not just washing the hands is good health, but also the issues with the dog dining component of that. From the standpoint too, in the ordinance, we actually discuss enforcement and penalties as it relates to the ordinance. With that, it may be enforced by either the code enforcement or the police department. Now, if a violation is found or deemed to be a public nuisance or a public safety issue, we have created a fine schedule that you'll be asked to do in the resolution tonight following the ordinance if it's passed, to establish basically those fees in amended Chapter 16 fine and fee schedule. The fees that we would have basically is that with no permit is a written warning. Second offense is $250, and third and subsequent would be $500 per offense. Now, I think it's very important. You'll see in a minute I'll be speaking to a public outreach program that's going to be really informing our community about the rules and regulations for having permitted dog dining areas. We also, once you have a permit, then we do have identify fees that would be potentially fined per offense, such as you don't have the signage properly or you don't have your dog waste kit in the proper location, those type of things. So those are also identified. Excuse me, I'm actually going to go back one. We believe it's very important. This is an important economic development tool, but dog-friendly restaurants are something that people hold dear that have dogs. I have to be a dog owner with that aspect to it. And restaurants are understanding the economic development tool. But we have to make sure when we're starting new programs that we also let those restaurants that are existing now understand that there are programs and there's a way to be able to have a proper permit and what are those rules and regulations. So we'll be developing a public outreach program to go out to our existing restaurants that we do have. When you go to such places as bring.fido.com, there are actually restaurants identified in the city of Ocoee that are dog friendly. Now, technically, they are not a dog approved, but dog friendly. So those are some things that we are understanding by seeing what's already happening in the community to make sure that we're doing it right and we're doing it safely. So we are committing to that educational program with that. In developing our recommendations, when we talked to the DRC as well as the planning and zoning, they were both approved. There was no howling or barking from any of those groups that related to any issues that we might be facing out in the community with that. So what staff is requesting is that to keep everybody's tail wagging, and I had to have a little bit of fun with this, we are requesting that the commission adopt the ordinance adding section 520, dog-friendly restaurants, to chapter 180, article 5 of the City of Ocoee's Land Development Code. And part B, if that is passed, then we're requesting that the commission adopt or amend Exhibit A, finding fee schedule incorporating section 520, fine by resolution.
Can I ask you a question?
You certainly can.
When you're doing all that, did you put a thing in there for what happens to the restaurant where they require jackets?
The dogs having jackets?
Yeah.
You mean from standpoint of service
You
dogs?
said you had to throw a little levity in there.
Well, you know, I did not address that if they had to have a tie or jacket.
Do you have to wear a jacket when you have to go to a certain restaurant? You have to
Well-
bring a jacket for the dog?
Well, that is something that will be we'll leave out that to the individual restaurants on the dress attire to dogs on that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I just have one question concerning you mentioned that there will be, the staff would initiate public awareness or information to the public about doggy-friendly and doggy-approved restaurants and disseminate information there. What about the restaurant themselves? Is there any like safe serve programs for the managers and the staff or the waiters, waitresses to, as far as training when it pertains to dealing with customers that bring their dogs with them? And I know there's like safe serve programs for waiting on humans and how to serve certain foods and temperatures and things of that nature. but now you're adding an extension onto dining, and I'm wondering if there is a safe serve program that covers serving restaurants that are doggy friendly for the managers and the servers.
In our research, we did not come across an actually program that has been established by the state from a standpoint of mandating certain training other components. One of the reasons that we made sure we identified in the ordinance the exact requirements was to help to do the training. When we do the outreach program, we're going to be reiterating those training guides. One of the things that we can do is to identify other restaurants that have in the local area that have actually had dog dining programs in force, and perhaps encourage them to reach out. Actually, Rustique's restaurants downtown is said to have one of the best doggy dining experiences. It's given 5 bones on bringfido.com. So people take this very
You're having a lot of fun with this, aren't you?
Visit Florida even has its own dog-friendly, so you can take a trip and they can take sure that everywhere you go, your dog will be welcomed. This is a public hearing too.
So as we move forward, I would maybe ask that if we pass this ordinance, that we look a little bit into, are there any safe serve programs, maybe in the country, maybe there's a federal guideline that may identify training for managers and servers that deal with customers at doggy-friendly and doggy-approved restaurants.
I will.
All right.
I am familiar with Safe Serve, but I know that it did say in here, I don't know if it's when we read this, that the employees, the hygiene, the employees should not be touching the animals, they should be washing their hands, they should be not touching tableware. I know you mentioned the sanitizer, but, 10 people want to put their hands on the animals, but it did say that in here about the, should I say, the hygiene issues.
Are we talking about from the standpoint of the servers in those
servers,
areas?
yes.
Yeah, in fact, as I was saying, signs that the ordinance actually provides the requirement that must be on the staff signs that should be located in the prep area that reminds them of all the requirements. That should be made of the training. And when we put together the public information letter, we'll put it as kind of a, I'll do it in a format that kind of addresses the kind of an FAQ kind of component, and here's what your staff needs to know. So yes, but those signs have to be in a visible space as well.
It is a concern, Commissioner, that they follow some hygiene, and there probably is something with Safe Serve.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very concerning because people who don't have pets that bring them and sit there could be very concerned about the employees handling the pets and then serving them their food.
And that's one of the reasons too that any dog dining area must be signed, dog dining, so that people sitting there that don't.
Okay. Read this.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and read the title to this ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending Chapter 180, Article 5 of the City of Ocoee Land Development Code to add a new Section 5-20 to establish a local exemption to the Food and Drug Administration's Food Code to allow dogs in designated outdoor areas of food service establishments in accordance with Section 509.233 Florida statutes, providing conditions for a permit for such use, providing for enforcement, providing for penalties, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date. We also have the resolution establishing the fine and fee schedule. This is a resolution of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the fine and fee schedule as authorized by ordinance number 2019-16 to include a fine and fee for violations of Section 520 of the City of Ocoee Land Development Code, dog-friendly restaurants, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody in the public have any comments pertaining to the dog ordinance? All right, Mr. Mackey, you have no comments to that? Okay, I'll close it up. Come back to the dais. All right, do I hear a motion for the first one we'll do is the second reading of the ordinance? Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, but I also like to maybe pin something to that motion that, again, if we approve, that we would require the restaurants to provide some type of training for their employees and guidelines as it pertains to customers that bring in their dogs in the restaurant. So I would like to
Would that-
make a motion that we approve based on that, with that small attachment.
Would that be part of the dog-friendly restaurants providing the terms, conditions, requirements, and enforcement for a public food service attachment? Is that part of that?
If I can answer that, actually, the ordinance itself does put out the regulations that must be followed, and those regulations that are in the ordinance must also be located on visible signs for the staff. And then we'll provide a training guide in our public outreach that kind of reiterates that in common language.
All right, you want to make that? Does that not cover it there, Commissioner?
I guess it does. I guess I would like to probably see a little bit more information concerning
We need to make an amendment.
the training regimen for managers and servers as they're dealing with those customers. I'm sure, I don't know if there's anything out there, but I would at least like the research to figure out, is there something out there that would cover that? That's just a concern, and maybe add that to, I don't know, we need to add to the ordinance, or at least add that as an attachment to say, hey, if you're going to apply for this permit, here are some of the things that we require, and that will be one of them.
Well, I would think, he might add,
How
I would
about-
think under a public health ordinance, that under the state health law, that they would have that in covered, but.
What if we had, information on training or information relating to training employees, that we just attach that as part of the permit when they apply for the permit?
That would be fine, as long as we can enforce it if they're not following those guidelines.
Yeah, and we can give them the guidelines, we can give them whatever, I don't know if there are opportunities for training or whatnot, but give them that information at the time they get the permit.
We can actually create a public information packet that goes along with the permit that provides a lot of that information.
Under your motion,
Absolutely.
just put to attach that part to the.
Absolutely. Again, every time we deal with restaurants and things change at the restaurant, we get to the point where we're actually sitting at a restaurant and they've been cooking food right in front of us. Every time something changes, there's some type of ordinance or safety issue or that has to be addressed. I just want to make sure that we are addressing everything that we need to as it pertains to doggy-friendly dining. That's all. So again, I'd like to make a motion that we approve item 14 with the addition of a safety program that's regulated by the state or federal government that goes along with that, or attachment that goes with that, the permit.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Oliver for the motion with the addition of the, making sure the training part is attached to the permit. Do I hear a second? Well,
I'll be happy to say why I don't plan on seconding it.
well,
I,
hold
Hold
on a
on.
minute.
Okay.
I need a second for purpose of discussion. Hold that gavel. All right, I give the gavel to the, Mr. Ox, Chairman. I'll second for the purpose of discussion. All right, now give us your.
I think that it's clearly stated in what's presented to us that we're going as far as we can regarding what we're expecting of the restaurant. I think when it comes to health standards, I don't think we should be putting that in our ordinance. I think that's something that the restaurant has a responsibility to uphold that end of the agreement. They are serving the public. All we're doing is making a resolution to allow them to have a dog-friendly area. And we are saying that they cannot do this regarding, they have to wash their hands, which to me, I would hope every server's washing their hands before they've come and served me if they've touched anything they shouldn't. But I'm not interested in putting that requirement. I think that's a requirement. We don't know what the state has. I don't know what the federal government has as pamphlets to give out. So we're saying we're going to give them. We don't even have them. So how can you know what's going to be given if you don't have them in front of you?
I would say what I would say to that issue would be we just had them, we attached that to the part of the thing that says, this should be part of the permit is where you train your employees. I know that the health departments tell them, I know they got a sign on the door that says, wash your hands before you go back, but that don't mean, it doesn't hurt to remind people. And that's just, I don't think we're putting that in ordinance, we're putting it as an attack. We're just saying it's gonna be a handout we're gonna give them to go along with it. I went to a place for a thing about a month ago in downtown Winter Park, a fancy place. And there was this dog in there patting me on the leg and smelled like he'd been out in the water bushes for about 2 weeks. So, I mean, what are you gonna do? It's part of everything that's going on now. So I just say, add it on our little thing that we give out. We give out all kind of things to people. So I don't have a problem with that.
I would be agreeable if we just copy that part of the ordinance that says what they're doing, but as for saying that we're gonna attach state and federal when we don't even know if they have them, how can we attach them? If you want to attach in bold print, put the item number, whatever it is, saying wash your hands, that's okay, but we don't know what the federal, I didn't wanna add it because I don't know what the federal government or the state government has.
Well, I certainly understand.
I'm gonna ask the lawyer, can we put that, just what we're said, it can be, even
Yeah,
so.
I guess to the extent there are guidelines or requirements by the Food and Drug Administration, if we had those and attached those to the permit or handed those out at the issuance of the permit, but unless you tell me otherwise, Ginger, I don't know what there is, what exists that we would have.
We got a motion to do that now, and I'm telling you.
If we could, we actually formatted the ordinance that contained all the requirements that are required by state statute for outdoor dining areas for dogs. So everything that is required by the state is in the draft ordinance that we have. In our research, we didn't see any additional training that or education that was required by the state.
We suggest you train just for our city benefits and for what he's talking about. And I don't have a problem with it if he just put a paper with it that says for our, for your, please, give this to them and try to be the training for employees. I mean, it's just a suggestion, just like suggesting you wash your hands.
Once you add any nuances to any type of established dining, there's always a training regimen for it. I don't care if you're actually introducing a new type of food or you're actually doing a additional type of service. In this case, it's an additional service where you're actually you're allowing a patron to bring their animal or their dog into a restaurant. So there has to be some kind of training for your staff and some kind of training for your management staff. What if a dog bites someone? There has to be some kind of protocol that they have to follow. So therefore, I believe that there's something out there, and I'm just proposing that we find whatever it is out there that will actually allow the management team and the serving team to be trained on how to handle customers when they bring in their dogs. I mean, what do? I mean, we talked about the sanitation, we talked about the washing hands, we talked about the signs, but there's other things, I'm sure that's out there. You can't pet the dog. You can't let the dog eat from certain plates. I mean, there's has to be some type of training regimen in the restaurant industry that pertains to doggy-friendly restaurants for the staff and the management team.
All right, here's the deal. Let me see if we can, can you go back and find any clearance through the state or anything that pertains to the doggy ordinance or animal ordinance that will say that or not say that, then we can redo the motion.
Maybe if it said, if I could just say something, Commissioner, if you would say, if available, to attach it, because we don't know what's available. I have no problem with that, but I don't want to put restraints that say they must put something. I think that if they can find information that is available to attach it, because I'm just looking at the guidelines that we put in here about washing hands. But if it was if available, I have no problem, but I think we're putting restraints on the permit by trying to find something that may not exist.
Mayor,
Well, I think that's reasonable.
Ginger, would it be possible to perhaps amend the ordinance slightly right now to include a requirement that the owner or proprietor or operator adheres to all state or federally required training guidelines for staff? That was put in the ordinance.
Yeah. That would
That's what I
actually
was
cover
saying
that,
earlier,
yes.
isn't that thing?
And we'll also add that to the application, permit the handouts that we provide them.
I think that's probably going to take care of Commissioner Oliver's
Yeah.
concern. If that's put in, if we just amend and just add that line, I think you just mentioned the one paragraph states that they must comply in some way. But,
Right.
All right, so
so Scott, if we could just make that amendment, that slight
Yeah.
amendment, and
Okay.
So then we'll vote on this one, turn it down, and vote on another one, that he can make another motion.
well, I think, I'm not sure where it is with the amendment right now, but I think if you approve it based on amending that language to include the training, that, once we put that in
All right,
there,
we haven't,
Scott,
So-
would that work?
we
So
haven't
can I
voted.
withdraw my
we-
previous motion and make a new one?
Yeah, we
I
have
got one
a
on the
motion
floor
and a
right now,
second.
though.
Right,
I
we have a
gotta get
motion
rid
and
of
a
this
second.
one. All right, everybody in favor of this motion or opposed, vote.
Okay, which motion are we
Now,
opposing?
we're voting on the one he just made a while ago, and we're gonna go back and change it, so we just need to make a new motion.
So basically, you have to vote no to this
No.
to go
Yeah.
on to the next motion.
Yes.
This
Yes.
gets very confusing. You
Yeah,
have to take it
we'll
by the
vote
hand.
no to this and then we'll
Okay,
come back with a new
thank you.
motion. Okay.
All right. All right, motion is defeated. Now, give us your new motion.
Well, your new motion is just going to be as amended to include the language
Yeah.
for the
So the new motion
training
we made by
requirement.
Commissioner Oliver
Is to approve the ordinance with the modification that, as a condition to the permit, that the applicant comply with all federal and state regulations regarding training of servers.
yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the ordinance that will allow us to add in a training regimen for the service, or for the restaurant owners, servers.
We're back to what we do.
Yeah.
Would you just want to make what he
So,
said?
so basically, I'm just
Yeah,
approving
you're-
what the
Okay, so,
what the attorney said.
Yeah.
To approve the
Made by
motion
what the attorney read off.
with the addition.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, do I hear a second?
I will second that.
Motion made by, seconded by Commissioner Wilson. No more discussion, let's vote.
No more
Motion
discussion.
carries 3. Bark, bark.
Commissioner,
Well,
we'll
here.
get this out, we're good.
All right.
We're good.
we got to vote on the resolution.
Now we got the resolution. I need a motion for the resolution. I need a motion for the resolution.
And this,
This was the fine and fee schedule for
Oh.
this.
motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson, seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? Not, let's vote. Motion carries with 3-0, 2 absent. All right. Number 15, designation of voting delegate, Florida League of Cities 93rd Annual Conference. I'm going, you going?
Yeah, but don't you usually do, aren't you the one that
Yeah.
usually goes out and does
Votes?
the votes for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that you continue to vote
Yeah,
on behalf of the city of
Saturday
Ocoee.
morning. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Anybody go? Yeah, everybody's not, if you're going, you better tell, if anybody's going, talk to Sherry.
No, we're all going.
I think I will,
Yeah.
I've already signed up. You signed up?
Yes, I already signed
I've
up.
signed, yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
Should, more importantly, are you signed up?
Me?
Yes.
Sherry did mine, yeah.
Thank you, then we can make that.
Yeah.
All right, so the motion should carry, right?
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Motion, let's vote, yes. Motion carries, I'll be the voting delegate, all right. Staff action items.
I have nothing, man.
All right, now we're gonna go to the comments from citizens and public. We will start with Mr. Johnson, 101 Security. Come on up.
Yeah, my name's Larry Johnson. I live at 101 Security Circle. My wife has been texting and calling everybody. She's supposed to be up here, but she fell ill at the last minute, so I guess it's payback. But I'm gonna try to read her statement. Mine, she didn't think mine was appropriate, so I'll read hers. We live at 101 Security Circle, Florida, 34761. There has been an awful smell coming from pumping station 63. It's been over a month now. We can't have company over without being embarrassed over it, of the smell. We can't even sit on our back porch and drink coffee. The problem has been text to Rusty Mayor Johnson, and we have called Trent Harper many times. Trent Harper said this would be on his, it would be took care of on it until it was fixed. Also, Trent Harper told told me the smell wasn't a health hazard, but I disagree. It's not fair to us to have to put up with this smell. We haven't seen anybody in over pumping station over 2 weeks until yesterday. Trent Hopper told us he would keep us updated, which he has not. I, Rosa Johnson, we have lived here for 27 years, and this problem needs to be addressed, solved some way.
Yeah, Mr. Johnson, I've contacted back to your wife 2 or 3 times. I have turned it in to the sewer superintendent and water superintendent, which is not Mr. Hopper, it is Charles Smith. And I don't guess Charles is here tonight. Usually he's here. But I have turned it in to him personally 2 or 3 times, and he promised me they'd be working on it. I know what you're talking about.
That's what everybody's been telling us.
I know, but it's something they're gonna have to work on to figure out a way to solve that solution. But we're gonna, and I had mentioned it to the city manager.
Well, I'm
so
just here to figure out how much longer we're going to put up with this awful
We're
smell.
gonna contact them and have them work on that problem, see if we can get it solved.
Can we even get updated on this, the process of it? I mean, the
I'm
progress
telling
of it?
you, that's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
I'm telling you now.
We haven't been updated on anything
Well-
yet so far.
Well, that's why I'm trying to explain to you that we're gonna make sure that they
Okay.
get a hold of you tomorrow, right? Assistant City Manager sitting back there, I promise you,
Okay, well,
somebody
that's
will
not-
get a hold of your wife or you tomorrow.
Well, I
I have
appreciate
turned
that.
that in 3 times myself.
Well, she has been stuck with calling and texting everybody.
No, she
about
has.
that, but
No, she has. She's tried.
There is a very big issue here.
No, I
for
know.
us. Maybe not everybody else, but for us. We
I
live
know
on
it
the
is.
street across the street from.
Yes, sir. I know exactly where you live. But I have answered her and I have turned it in, and I have asked for Charles and, I haven't talked to Trent, but I talked to Charles, who's superintendent over all that. So we will make sure they get to you tomorrow, and let's see what we can work out with the problem.
We're just trying to figure out how much longer we're going to put up with this.
Okay, all right, we're gonna try to figure that out for you too, all right? Thank you, sir.
All righty, appreciate
Let
it.
your wife know, we appreciate her
Yep.
doing that, hope you feel better. Craig, will you talk to him? All right. It is something that's gotta be addressed, because, I don't blame him. All right, next is, Audrey Alexander.
Good evening. Again, my name is Audrey Alexander, and I work with the Florida Department of Health here in Orange County, and I'm here to represent them. And the reason for me being here is to inform the commissioners about the Healthy Community Champions Recognition Award. And we understand that the obesity rates here in the United States have increased dramatically over the last 30 years, and obesity is now an epidemic in the United States. Here in Florida, about 34.6% adults are at a healthy weight. We know that Florida's county and municipal governments play an important role in decreasing the prevalence of unhealthy weight and in their jurisdictions. Now, what we're trying to do is the department has come up with a recognition for municipalities across the state to recognize those who are doing a lot of good work within their jurisdictions to help their residents as well as visitors in their communities to live a healthier lifestyle. They've been given this recognition now since 2014. Here in Florida, for 2018, about 45 communities were given the recognition. What I'm here tonight is to not only tell you about it, but to encourage the city of Ocoee to apply for the recognition. There is no money attached to it. You don't have to pay for it or anything. It's just a matter of applying for it. For the 2019 recognition, the application will become live on next Monday, June 10th. And you have from June 10th until August 15th to make the application. And it is an online application. And my thing is, I just want to make sure that Ocoee gets that recognition. In the past, we've been able to, for several years, work with the city of Orlando has received it, the city of Winter Park, the city of Winter Garden, the city of Apopka, as well as the town of Eatonville. I want Ocoee to be a part of that whole list. So not only for Orange County, also for the state of Florida. And so now you ask, what are the benefits? Why should we do it? Well, first of all, you would be listed on the state of Florida's website as one of the healthiest communities in the state of Florida. You will also receive a logo that you can put on your website and be a part of a press release. You can add that to your website. You would also receive a certificate signed by the Surgeon General, even though our new governor has not appointed a new Surgeon General at this point, but by the time this whole situation is over, then we will have a Surgeon General who will sign that, as well as the local health director. And so I just really, I've heard about a lot of things that's going on here in Ocoee, and I just really urge you guys to possibly consider applying for it, designating someone to go ahead and apply for it. What I'd like to do is on Monday, well, I'll be out on Wednesday, is to send you a link to the application where you can go ahead and do it and get the recognition that Ocoee deserves.
All right, what we'll do is have, Rob, who would that be, Melody? Yeah, we'll get it, we'll have this form here.
Well, that's just some basic
All right, we'll-
information. But what I'd like to do is to send you the link.
Okay, send it to City Clerk, Melody, and she can handle getting this registered. All righty?
Very good. Thank you so much.
Some of us need it.
All right, can I ask this question?
Yes.
All right,
Please.
to get this designation, I guess we all have to go on diets. I don't know.
No. What you will see is
Okay.
across the state, there's several, when you look at the application, there are a lot of things that they're asking. However, what you're already doing is enough
Yeah.
to make you eligible for the award, for the recognition, which you're
thank you.
already doing.
We thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You need to get, Melody, can you give her a card? Amber's gonna get you a card out. Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you for sticking around. All right, next we have Chris Atkins. Set the clocks.
Miss Aubrey, not very many people say Ocoee right. You did a good job on that. They butcher it up pretty good. You should hear me talking to them on the phone. They're all over the place. Ocoee is what I hear all the time or something. Before I get started, Mayor, I want to take a second to say that I appreciate you guys. Downtown is looking refreshing, and it's exciting to see. I know a lot of times I may be the thorn, or what's considered a thorn, as the taxpayer that comes in and tries to just represent the average taxpayer in our community. But at the end of the day, I do appreciate everything. I was hoping you'd wait to start on that, though. But okay, so 3 minutes. Here, I'll go as fast as I can. It's in regards to the budget. For the past 3 years, I've been very much involved in trying to purvey my concerns about the budget. I know that you guys are probably going to be starting budget workshops for the upcoming year. And there's 3 particular categories that I think it won't be fresh on your guys' ears. Mr. Brinson, I wish was here for the first one, because I think he hasn't heard this before. I do believe I have everyone on record in regards to the audit that has never been conducted and performed in the city of Ocoee in regards to our departments. We do a physical audit yearly, but that's just not enough, especially with the expansion that we have. I think it's imperative. We actually voted unanimously to approve it at $60,000, and then all of a sudden it was $20,000 more, and it got thrown to the side. At the end of the day, taxpayers should know that each one of our departments are running efficiently. The productivity is high, and I think part of growth and managing growth is to keep things accountable. It's not always a negative thing. I've said that a bunch of times. So I hope that you commissioners that have talked about this with me in the past start to look that forward, going forward, and putting that into the budget this upcoming year. Second thing I'd like to touch base about is our local representation of our city sports leagues. We have city sports leagues that should be and automatically should be non-for-profit. Some are for-profit. At the end of the day, taxpayers are paying for the maintenance on the cities, the power on the cities, and none of these individuals are paying any money to the city for that. We're the only municipality that does that, and that's simply unfair to taxpayers. It's simply unfair, especially now that I found out that we lost for 53 years. City of Ocoee had the Ocoee Little League. We've lost that, and we now are the West Orange Babe Ruth. Well, when you're the West Orange Babe Ruth, that means anyone outside of Ocoee can come here and play on our fields that taxpayers in Ocoee pay for. That's simply not fair. There's for-profit organizations using our soccer fields. That is simply not fair that we are paying for the power and the lining and the maintenance on those fields for-profit individuals to be using those fields. So I would like to see some ordinance to where these individuals that are representing Ocoee on our behalf has to go through the city, has to maintain their non-for-profit status, must turn in their budget, and in my opinion should give at least 10 to 15% of their total overall revenue to the Parks and Recs Department to help pay for some things. The last thing, final, and I've said it year after year, I think it's time to separate the Founders Day budget outside of the Parks and Recs budget. The City of Ocoee and the residents and taxpayers should understand what we're paying for. Our first responders, I guarantee you, their budget has a large percentage, whether it be fire or police, that's helping pay and going to that, on top of the entertainment, on top of everything else. I know it's considered a free concert, but at the end of the day, a lot of City of Ocoee residents are no longer going. It's the same group. I understand that, but what we make and what we spend should be clear to the city taxpayers. We are the ones paying it. It should not be hidden and put into the Parks and Recs Department.
All right. You can go ahead. What I'll do is make if you check into the soccer thing, they're fixing to fork up $200,000, Mr. Atkins, to put into the fields and stuff. The soccer group is. So the Little League is part of the city that we have for people that pay. They pay for their own fees and stuff to run their uniforms and stuff. Founders Day money, I don't know where you're ever going to get this clear or not, but that money is not coming from the citizens. It's fronted, part of it, one little part at the first of it is funded. I've told you this every year. We raised $400,000.
Is there anywhere in the budget I can see that?
$400,000. If you look at the budget, after the season's over, you'll look it up and find it. The citizens have still come, and if you would like to show up, I'll introduce you to a lot of Ocoee citizens at Founders Day. So if you'd like to come up here, come up, and I'll introduce you to a bunch of people from Ocoee that'll be at Founders Day. And it's free. Yes, it is free, because we raise the money to pay back to the city. Now, I kind of get tired of doing it myself anyway. So if you think we were to quit, maybe we quit. But I don't think the citizens would like that. So maybe when we put it on a ballot and see what they say. So I'm just telling you, you keep doing the same thing every year on Founders Day. Founders Day is paid for by sponsors that come forward and pay the money. It does not come from the taxpayers. So
Can I respond, Mayor?
All right, that's it. I'm done. Time's up. 3 minutes is over.
Yeah, but I should be able to respond if you extend past the 3 minutes.
I'm responding to you, so I'm not going to keep doing this. Your time's up. Thanks, sir.
So there is somewhere in the budget I can find where the income comes from Founders Day?
You go see the finance director.
Okay. And there is a program for all our nonprofits to follow, all of them in the city?
If you need to talk to the finance director, go talk to the finance director.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Anybody? Or the recreation leader. All right. Anybody else? All right, we go to now the comments from commissioners. Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. In the past, when we've had the Florida League of Cities Conference in Orlando, the last time, I know we have a resolution, I think I have to ask for the ability for myself to use travel funds for paying for hotel while that's going on, because I'm also on the board of Florida League of Cities, but I'm also Tri-County League, and we partake in many of the events. So I'm requesting that the commission approve for me to stay at the conference for the 3 nights. You can also look at my travel expenses, but I don't travel. So I'm requesting. I went to Tallahassee. Yeah, that cost about $700. Thank
Just
you.
hold on, we'll make the motion.
Okay,
We
but,
made a motion last time.
We did it the last time, but I had to request that, for the hotel because it is
Anybody
within
got
the.
any problem with that? Do we need
It
a
is
motion,
within the
Rob?
area.
We don't need a motion, do we?
I think did we have to make, I thought there was a motion the last time in order for.
Where consent says yes.
Was it,
We can make a motion if you want to make
It
it.
doesn't matter, either
It
way you
doesn't
want.
matter.
it doesn't matter, okay, because I would like to stay those nights at the conference.
We have it in the minutes, so it's good
Okay,
already.
so everybody's good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to stay down in Motel 6. We can't afford it.
Okay, that's fine.
Just kidding.
When I have to be there, we have to be there early.
Yeah, I know.
That's,
I know.
okay.
All right.
The-
Anything else?
Yeah, there's a couple more things, just minor things. I don't know if the police department's here, but I'm getting calls regarding the park, the people at the park parking where they shouldn't be parking on Oakland Avenue. And I'm hoping that we're enforcing that because Oakland Avenue at the current time, it's residential on one side and it's very narrow. And especially on the weekends, we have issues regarding parking there. So please, if the police department would please watch that and enforce the no parking signs. Would appreciate it. It's quite a busy place. There's going to be a lot of noise. I know that the police are monitoring the Bill Breeze Park on the weekends between Memorial Day and Labor Day. Am I correct, Rob?
Yes.
Okay. That leads to my next concern that I'd like to know. I know we talked about this in the past, and I just kind of putting it out there for thought at this point. Putting so much money into Bill Breeze Park that we have a lot of folks using our boat ramp. And I know we've talked about this before, whether we should start requiring permits. If you live in the city, it's a less of a charge. If you're coming from the outside using our park, that in order to launch your boat, you have to have a permit. And I wonder what the commissioners maybe think, or the mayor may think of that, if we would look at that for future being permitted. I'm not looking for it to be an extra burden to the police department, but if people are using the boat dock and they're parking, to have a permit, to use it. And we've been talking about that for years, and we've never done anything about it. So I don't know, again, if you don't mind me asking.
What I'd like to do is make a suggestion, and we have the staff get us permits from other cities, and let's start looking at it, and Rob, turn it over to whoever has to do that, and find the permits, whatever we have to do to look into the process. We've talked about this time and time again, and go through this process, except for, and the citizens, maybe not charging them, but charging the ones that come from out of town. Of course, I guess we need to charge the citizens too, so.
Well, again, we could look at that, but I'm thinking that the citizens have put a lot of money into this park.
Yeah,
And all of a sudden, there's a lot of folks down there using it, and we've all talked about people just backing their boat in, doing whatever they're doing, and then pull it out. But I think that they should have to pay to use our boat launch.
yeah. No, I agree. I agreed about it a long time ago. Nobody wanted to vote for it.
And I just wonder if we could come back maybe during, it's just a thought process and to move forward.
Let's
And
see,
again-
I know, Winter Park has it, Maitland has it, I don't know if they have it, but they have the lakes. So what we need to do is see if there's a, what.
If there's an
way we have to go
ordinance
about it.
that we could look at.
Is that okay
To see
with
if
you,
it's something we
Commissioner
want to
Oliver?
proceed with.
Yes.
Yes, so consent,
Okay.
yes.
And I think that's it, but please, where I do ask the police department to please monitor the park area, because, again, someone sent me a picture and showed me where someone was parking up on the grass on Oakland Avenue side off of the road. And, we're just planting, we're just putting a new area in there, and next thing you know, we'll have people parking wherever. And we have to really, it says no parking, but folks don't like to abide by the
Where's
signs.
that?
It was they were up on the grass, between the sidewalk and, the road, where they had pulled off onto the grass. And again, Oakland is not a place where you're gonna do that, and we really wanna protect our park.
Yeah,
You wanna keep cars, boat trailers. We have a place to park your boat trailer up next to the women's club.
yeah.
And may have to walk back, but you have a place to park. Please don't be pulling up on the grass. We've got a lot of money invested starting in this park, and we need to maintain it.
That's for sure. Yeah, that's gonna be something we have to address, because of what they're doing down here. There's gonna be sprinklers and new grass put in and everything else. Okay, we need to address that too, Rob, through the parks, I guess.
Yeah, again, I think it's just, we should be mindful of this. We're putting a lot, our residents are putting a lot of money into this park and this whole area down there, and we need to maintain a nice, it's lovely, that's why they come down. People come and use it, and we want that to remain lovely.
My question would be, is there any way that we can maybe give warnings, maybe patrol officer give a warning, leave a warning note, or even if it goes beyond that, start ticketing the actual
Yeah. You
boat
know,
trailers?
I don't know if they've been giving warnings already, which typically they would do. You know, we're just really getting into the summer right now. That's when we start seeing everybody come down there. So I think typically what they do is they start issuing warnings for the first couple of weekends. But that's generally what we choose them, we prefer them to do, is give a warning, and then for repeat violators, or we get a few weeks into the summer and everybody's still doing these kind of things, and we start with the tickets. But I'll have that discussion with the chief also.
Commissioner Oliver, we've had problems down there where people bring boom boxes and start playing loud music and disrupting, you know, you don't want to sit next to someone who's blasting music.
Right.
And you've got your family, so again, it's a learning process as we go along. And I think warnings are important, just stopping them, tell them it's not allowed.
All right,
Thank you.
Mr. Oliver.
Okay. The Ocoee Summer Youth Job Fair, we had that a few weeks ago at the West Oaks Mall. We had 25 employers participate. There was actually over 200 youth that registered for the Summer Job Fair. That was actually, we also had some of the youth that actually just kind of walking through the mall that also participated as well that did not register. So, and maybe an additional 50 or 60 that might have came through that way. One of the things that was kind of disheartening to me was the fact that we had a city-sponsored event and the HR department was not in attendance, which I was under the impression, and I was told that they would attend. However, they were not there. So we have a city-sponsored event where we are actually offering jobs to youth, and the city itself had 10 jobs for youth available, and again, the HR was not there. So I would like to make sure as we move forward with these type of events that the appropriate departments, which that would have been the appropriate department to attend that event, would show up for those events. So I definitely want to go on the record as to state that as we move forward with these type of events, that they need to be there. They need to be there in support of the city and the city's events. Okay. Also, the Ocoee High School graduation, we had that a few weeks ago as well. And again, it was a little disheartening to me that no Ocoee official was at the Ocoee High School graduation.
I got invited.
I think that you might have been out of town.
I was out of town.
And
but
normally
also,
you're there.
I told them that wasn't going to be there.
Yes, normally you're there.
I go to it, but I'm going to tell you, they have it. They got the worst time. They need to change it. We, for some reason, we're at the bottom of the bucket.
Yeah.
They have it at UCF at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which lasts about 4 hours.
I had 2 conversations with the principal myself, face
And
to face.
They invited me, and I told them I would not be there, and I told somebody here, but I don't know who it was, but I was out of town, but I've been to it. I've been to it when they invited everybody. Bracey's been invited. He didn't show up when I was there. So I think one of the problems is, Commissioner Oliver, they for some reason, they don't have theirs like everybody else. They have it at 7 o'clock at night or something.
Well, I want to propose that we add that event to our official calendar. That it's not hard to do. We have an official calendar that we publish every year, and that date that they set for their high school graduation is probably already put out by the time we publish this calendar. So I'm going to actually propose that we have that event added to our calendar, and again, that someone from whether invited or not, someone should show up and be at that event from either the staff. No, if you're coming as official, you don't need a ticket.
But if you do, you do.
And I even spoke to the school board, as an elected official, you really don't need a official invite. You can actually come to that event, and you shouldn't have a problem.
We don't have to do all that because they do invite us every year.
Well, if that's the
The
case,
only one that don't do it is West Orange High School, or we got it.
I just asked that we put it on our calendar.
If I don't go, I will tell somebody.
Okay.
That's how we do. That's all we need to do.
So are we okay with adding it to our calendar?
I don't think we put it on the calendar. I don't want to do that. I think if they invite us every year, we'll turn it in to go. Or if I don't go, I will turn it in to somebody else. I'll designate somebody to go. No, I don't think we need to put it on our calendar.
I think it should be on the
We got
calendar.
other schools too. There's a lot. Listen, I go to the.
Well, I mean, the name of the school is Ocoee High School.
I go to the graduations for elementary. I go to the graduations for middle school. It just happened to be I was out of town and I told somebody. Every year I get invited. If I get notified and I can't go, I will turn it in to somebody. I don't think we need to make it part of it.
I don't think what harm it would be to just have
It's not any harm.
some
It's
kind
no
of
different.
notification showing that this event is happening, so
It's
at least
not
it's on our calendar. It's
It's
Ocoee High School.
Mr. All.
Well, this is Ocoee, this is the city of Ocoee. It's Ocoee High School.
Make a motion.
It should be a
I'm
part.
not- I don't.
Can I ask a question? We have 3 schools.
That's right.
And it's very important. See, I've never been invited to these, and the mayor's been invited.
Yeah.
I go to other things I'm invited to. I understand what you're saying, okay? As for putting it on the city calendar, I have a problem because it's an OCPS function, it's not ours.
That's right.
I don't go to things that I'm not invited, I make a point not to go to things I'm not invited to. And unless I'm invited personally, I don't attend them. So by putting them on the calendar, it can somewhat make someone think that they can go to this event. And I know when my kids graduated from schools, we were given so many tickets and that was it. And it wasn't open to bring other people with us besides those tickets we had. And I'm afraid that if someone sees it on the calendar, they may think they have the right, or they have the ability to go.
It's
And I wouldn't want to see someone drive out to UCF. Listen,
I
my
don't know
daughter,
why
I
they-
didn't want to drive out there too often, but 25 miles. I understand your concern. I just have a concern that when you put it on the calendar, they may feel as though they can attend.
I got 3 more years of it, and I'll either, if I can't go and I'm out of town, I will make sure somebody knows. Always do, but I was out of town. I told the lady, she always calls me, so I will make sure she knows. I'm not for putting it on
And
the
please
thing
continue
either.
to go.
Huh?
Continue to go.
Oh, listen, I go, but I don't, it's a long evening.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Okay. All right, again, you understand my concern. I just feel that we do have 3 high schools, and I think it's important that we establish that partnership and let them know that the citizens of Ocoee know that
They do.
we do support, and we do. Again, we have given money for all kinds of things for Ocoee High School, West Orange, and even Wakawa in certain cases. So again, we do support, but I think it's important that we do show that we support them in their graduation ceremonies as well. So that's for the record. All right. Also, inquiry for obtaining a possession of the property known as the Hollow Ground, which is, I'm actually requesting that we, the Beg Ridge Road, that we actually sent a letter to the registered owners of the property that we would ask them that we would be able to possess that property, as we've been maintaining it for several years now. And I'm just kind of requesting that some kind of consensus from the commission that will allow the city attorney to send a letter to the registered owners to see if we can actually gain possession of that property that would allow us to do something with that patch of land as a memorial to those in the that may have been buried there.
I don't know why we do that. We went through this years ago, and we maintained it anyway. We agreed to do the maintenance of it without owning it. So I don't know if you're going to be able to find anybody that's going to sign off on that, but that's up to you guys. I'm not for that.
So if we were to send a letter, certified letter to the registered owner and get no response back, can we pursue maybe quiet title to that property?
Mayor, we had discussed this, I'm not sure if you were in there at Attorney Day, and I think one of the issues when Commissioner Oliver brought it up, it changed how it was listed in the property appraiser's website in the last year or two. So discussing with the city attorney, who I don't know if I'm going to state what we believe to be correct or not, But we think at this time, it wouldn't hurt to do that now that they're actually showing, Scott, is that right? They're actually showing a property owner now where
Yes.
they didn't before?
Correct.
So we are already maintaining it. We could go ahead and do that. It wouldn't cost that much just to send a letter. And then that's kind of clearing the way in the future if we do want to take possession of it. If we get no one, contesting that, then that's one more step to actually owning that property, which we're maintaining now without basically having title to it.
Yeah, I think in the past, we've taken on the obligation to maintain it, to mow it, just to keep it, just to provide some upkeep. But as far as improvements, we've always had those improvements outside of the boundary of that into the city right away. So if we're going to make additional improvements other than just maintaining it, if we're going to build a structure in there or further make some kind of significant improvements to it, we probably ought to own the property before we
Absolutely.
do that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's just that if we can try to pursue ownership of the property that we've been maintaining for years now. Again, not making any argument as to if it's a grave site or a cemetery or not. I'm only talking about the land itself, being able to gain possession of that land that would allow the city to do something with it.
Yeah, I guess the step would be we would just do a little research to find out who is listed as the owner, send a letter inquiring as to whether they want to convey it to the city. I don't think that's really harming anything.
What do we need? Do we need a consensus for that, or do we need to file, or do we need to make a motion for that?
Yeah, I mean, either way, I mean, if you want to make a motion or just get consensus of the commission, I think it's pretty simple, just drafting a letter, at least see if we can't get in contact with those, that there's 3 or 4 different individuals listed as owners there, so we'd maybe send 3 or 4 different letters.
You want to make a motion, or you want to do it as?
What is consensus?
It's up to, I'm asking
What do
the
you
city
guys
attorney.
Yeah, I think consensus is fine.
Commissioner Wilson?
Sure, you're on a fact-finding mission, see if you can see what can come from it.
Yep, I'm good to go with that.
All right, sounds good. All right. Next, I need to see about if we can add we talked about this, adding the narratives for MWBE and veteran-owned businesses to be able to receive a percentage of contracted city-sponsored building and construction projects using the Orange County guidelines. So I know we talked about that a few meetings before, but I need to know where are we with that verbiage, and are we close to at least presenting something to the commission?
Yeah, we'll
that
have,
will,
I think within the, within the next week or so, we'll have something to distribute to the commission. So you'll have the information.
What is different than what we have already? Because anybody can put in for those jobs. Anybody, no matter who you are. What's the difference? Everybody, we take bids on bids. It's whoever's the low bid.
Well, there's certain things, proximity to the city limits where you get extra points for, and if you're a women-owned or minority-owned business, you may get extra points for that. If you have experience doing those types of projects,
Yeah.
you get extra points for that. If you have experience doing large projects, you get.
So you're saying you put points into the system?
I believe in my talks with staff, there's a way that that is scored in the city, not the same as the way the county does it or the state may do it. There are certain projects that are grant funded, like CDBG and grants
Yeah.
from the state, that we do have to use the methodology they use. So it's not an easy 2 or 3 sentence answer, Mayor, and that's why I asked Craig to put together basically a paper showing how we do it and how some of the others do it, and why they do it that way. And you can take that information and boil it down and see if there's anything that the commission wants to do to change our policies.
You got some comments on that?
Only if you have further questions. I think the city manager did a nice job of.
I think one of the
answering
problems
that.
you got is, in the county, I know their volume is way, way more than what ours is, in millions and billions of dollars in contracts. All I'm saying is that we go by the low bid. So you telling me that if that person that bids on it is different than what we want. If they don't bid low, then we still got to give it to somebody that bids high, no matter who they are. I'm
Okay.
just asking you because you telling me that if it's somebody that's different, we're going to give them a better thing because it bid high?
All right, I'm going to try to do this very quickly. Orange County and City of Orlando have an ordinance-driven assignment of a percentage of their budget to MBE WBEs. Orange County in particular has an entire division of employees dedicated to tracking, monitoring, and implementation of that, and it goes from full contractors all the way through subcontractors, okay? Most small cities, which we've done a survey that included City of Apopka, Winter Park, Maitland, Winter Garden, and Apopka. Out of those, Ocoee, Winter Garden, and Winter Park are very similar. What we do, any solicitation that's bid under the Consultant Competitive Negotiation Act, or CCNA, which includes any large project as defined by state statute in various areas of professional disciplines. So it could be engineering, it could be architectural, etc. Whenever we do a CCNA bid process, we actually recognize county certified MBE WBE businesses, which the new term is hubs, historically underserved businesses. That's a new term that's emerging. But if they're qualified, they automatically get preference points added into the evaluation total. That is how the cities that we've researched in our immediate area that are comparable in size are managing that. So we are providing preferences to MBE, WBE on any CCNA competitively bid process. You'll of course be getting a memo describing that.
Still ain't answering my question.
What is your question again,
Question
sir?
is, do you give them, if they're higher than the low bid, do they get it because they're rated under that as a minority or a women minority group or whatever? Is it because of?
No, sir.
All I've ever been told here, we have to bid on the lowest bid.
Okay, there's multiple answers to that. That's not a one-size-fits-all question, okay? In some cases, we don't award the lowest bid. There are certain solicitation methods where we don't do that.
I know one time.
There's more than one,
Right,
and
sure.
we can talk about it. But the fact of the matter remains, the question that was put was, what are we doing with regard to MBE WBEs, and should we look at doing something like Orange County does? We are actually giving preference point. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to holler.
Microphone.
I talk loud
This is a good
sometimes.
microphone, yeah.
You're hollering. All I'm asking is, I'm just simple question on the bids, and I want to get out of here tonight too. If you're going to tell me, then if it's not the low bid, then we don't do it. And that is particularly, it could be an instance you don't, but it's not every time. That's per what the qualification is the person to bid on it.
We always evaluate every solicitation based
I
on
know that.
the qualifications.
I'm just telling you, do we do away with the low bid? Is that what we're doing? Because if you're
No,
going
sir.
you're going by the minority contract or by the whatever, if it's whatever you're saying, then you're not going to go by the low bid.
That is not what I'm saying. I'm trying to respond with information that was requested. The
Bring
county-
back the county stuff, because I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't care what, the other
Mayor.
commissioners might want to vote for it.
Yeah,
I'm
Mayor,
just
that's
telling
why
you, it's
I
not
said,
a low bid.
it's a tough question to answer. I think putting Craig in an awkward position because we actually have things that we put out like RFQs that are an hourly thing. So there's really no total where you could say, are we getting the lowest
Yeah.
price or not? So that's why it's a hard question to answer without looking at the RFPs, the RFQs, and just bids and those types of things. So that's why, we had talked about it on a staff level, and we had, purchasing in on it, and we said, I told Craig, we probably have to put this together as like a mini white paper to show the different types of purchases that we do and how that's handled in the city and how some similar cities do it and how the county does it. So I think if you read what we provide to you and you want to bring this subject up again, I think you'll have a much better understanding of how we handle it and how some larger organizations handle it and some of the cities around that are like size with us.
I just say, I like to see what like-sized cities do. Because we can't compete with the county because the county is quite large. But it'd be nice to see, again, getting more information because you're throwing your acronyms out, which don't always make sense to me until
It all
I
goes down
break down what
It all
they
goes down to
mean.
what the money cost is.
Well, yeah, and again, and that's the reason to bring up this request anyway, to be able to bring information back. Let's see what the county has. Let's see what other cities, likewise cities, like-sized cities will have. And it's my understanding that these programs allow for businesses that may be underprivileged that can come in and bid on projects just like any other business that can't compete with the big guys that comes in that can lowball or actually come in with a lower bid just because they are a larger company and have more access to resource and have more money. Now you have smaller business that can come
Well,
in and also can bid on these projects, but as a result of it, may not get the primary contract, but also be a part of the secondary contract and maybe receive 10% of the business.
Well, we
and be
can
used
look
as
at
a
that.
subcontractor.
It's my turn. Let me finish talking because I'm fixing to end the meeting.
Oh, I wasn't finished.
I wasn't either.
But you
It
cut
was
me
my
off.
turn. I already let you talk.
No, you didn't, but you cut me off.
Commissioner Oliver, I let you have your time and comment.
No, you didn't because you cut me off.
I did too.
You
had
cut me off right
yours
now.
already.
You cut me off right now. I wasn't
I'm
finished.
cutting you off. You had your comment.
You wasn't saying anything. I was talking. You cut me off.
Oliver, I have not finished. She took over talking. I'm trying to finish my comments. You started a while ago. I started with you.
Okay, well, finish what you got to say, and
No,
I'll finish
go
what I
ahead.
got to say.
Go ahead.
So now I can finish what I gotta say.
We've talked about this for 30 minutes. The city's gonna go look at it, research it.
So the deal is
But
we're
it-
going to go back and research and bring information back in a week.
We're going to provide
Okay.
you all
But-
information that you'll
but-
have well before the next meeting.
If we're not gonna do the low bid anymore, they need to put that in the facts and put it in the thing. No matter who bids on it, if we're not doing the low thing anymore, tell us that.
Yeah,
If
we've
you're
not-
changing
we've not
that
changed-
rule, I
we've not
wanna
changed
know.
anything, Mayor. That's
I don't
for you
wanna
to
sit
decide.
here and watch somebody come in and get it that's a higher bid, no matter who they are.
That's something you'd all have to decide.
Huh?
We haven't changed anything.
Oh, I know. That's what
something
I'm trying to say. You know?
Okay, all right, we're on the
And
same page.
if we don't go by what our rules are, then what are we doing it for?
Oh, we're on the same page. Okay, my next item is, I've spoke with Congresswoman Val Deming's office about a partnership with the city of Ocoee, hosting a Veterans Lunch and Learn, looking at around October 12th. What the program will allow us to do is to actually partner with the Congresswoman's office to be able to have veterans from West Orange County to come to the city, have a lunch and learn, to be able to learn about their benefits, how to get their benefits, how to also get their benefits for their spouses or their dependents, as well as education and health benefits. We're bringing in the Orange County Veterans Association to be able to talk about how these veterans can get these type of benefits, what to expect. We also bring in maybe a few physicians to talk about the CNP processes and the things that they may or may not know. They get most of the stuff it's fragmented to them. So we're looking at partnering with her office to be able to provide this lunch and learn, hoping to use the Lakeshore Center on October 12th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. What are your thoughts?
I'll give you that. Are you asking the mayor or are you asking?
Well, I'm asking the commission.
Okay,
Well, at least the ones that's here.
okay. Okay. It's in a different budget year, okay, first of all. So, but I have a problem. If we have the veterans program up, I'd like to see that coordinate with our veterans program that's housed at the Adair Center. Okay? It's great, always having something that's educating our community is wonderful. I have a problem right now with the Lakeshore Center because it's Saturday, and that's usually prime time for us raising, that's the funding for that facility. If it was held somewhere like at the Adair Center where our seniors and veterans program is, I would like that better because it's.
She's never.
That building is the veterans and seniors.
Well, right now, there's nothing booked in that building, and we're talking about over 200 veterans coming out to this type of event. So I don't think that the Ison Center would hold that many people to come out when you're talking about having someone from our congressional district coming out to host an event.
I'd like to see you work with the veterans program.
Well, that's actually a part of the program. That her office will be reaching out to the different veterans groups throughout West Orange County to participate in this particular event.
Orange County has that. Orange County has it down in Michigan. They come out to Ocoee. They've been doing that for years. It's nothing new. So.
I'm sorry, is there available public comment on this or no?
Nope, it's not open for public right now.
So, what do we think? Is it viable for us to be able to partner with the Congresswoman's office to be able to provide this service to our veterans in West Orange County?
I think you need to go to the county and talk to the county veterans, I think. That's who you need to deal with.
Well, that
or the
part's
veterans.
already working. We're just trying to figure out, are we able to partner with them at this point and start working toward getting this event together?
We'll get it lined up and bring it back to us and show us what they're gonna do. That's what I'd say. I deal with the county veterans, not her.
Well, that's a part of it. It's a part of her congressional district anyway.
Well,
So again,
I
if
don't know. I asked them 6 months ago, and they never did anything. So I still deal with the county. So I'm gonna stick with the county, not her. So
Okay, so if the county's a part of it,
I
again,
deal with the county already.
so if the county's a part of it,
I made the comment, if we get the other commissioners back here, we need to have them back. We met 2 missing, let's bring them back and get the voice of all of them, because 3 of us is not enough.
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I mean, we need them back.
I think it's a good idea.
I'd like you to check with the veterans program that's at the senior center,
Yeah.
touch base with them and talk
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah.
Because they're right here at the heartbeat of
That's what I said.
our residents that are, and, you know, they are right there with our residents who are the veterans.
Yeah.
Again, we can't do anything until we get this information anyway. And a part of getting that information is getting the buy-in from the commission and say, yeah, you know what, we'll be interested in hosting this, provided you bring this information back from the entities that's going to be a part of it.
Did
So,
anybody
again, I think that'll be a part of
Anybody
it.
check with Parks about October the 12th?
That was already done.
No, I'm asking.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
I said that, yes.
Yeah.
Is she paying for the lunch part?
Huh?
We already have, we have potential sponsors to cover the lunch, yes. So the city's not going to spend any money at all. We're just providing a service for our citizens, that's all.
Well, that's why I said that's in a different budget year.
Yeah,
That's-
so there's no budgetary items, there's no funding that the city is asking. This program is not designed to ask the city for any money or any support in that nature, only just to partner with an entity that's going to help provide a service to our citizens,
I just like it.
our veteran citizens.
I like it. We always want, you know, when you bring a program in, you always want to check the programs that are going on.
Orange County veterans have offered, they used to come out here every other week.
Okay,
They've
I'm
offered to
sure they'll
come
be
out
happy
here.
to come out here.
They've offered to come and be out here anytime we need them.
Well, I'm
Like I
sure they'll
said.
be happy to be a part of this program.
You know,
We'll bring that
without-
information
without
back.
being involved with her, they'll come.
Okay.
They'll do it.
We'll make sure that they're part of the program. All right. Also, I need to ask for a consensus to hold a town hall meeting for District 4, September 12th, 2019, here in the diocese from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. for District 4. Are we okay with that?
When's the date?
September 12th, Thursday, September 12th, 2019, Ocoee
call in
City
by phone?
Diocese. Say again?
September what?
September 12th, Thursday, September 12th.
I think we all do, we all enjoy doing our town hall meetings for
Yeah,
our residents.
here in this building, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Did you just check?
As long as it's not anybody here, I don't think
We've
there is.
checked, double
There's
checked, and
nothing
triple
on
checked.
there. Huh?
We've checked, double checked, and
No, that's
triple
what I'm
checked.
saying. That's why I'm asking. There's nothing on there.
So is that okay?
I have no problem with it.
I don't have a
I
problem
love
with that.
town hall meetings.
Yep.
Okay, so for the record, we're okay with that one. Also,
And I might come back with one for myself, so no.
Also, I would like to circle back on something we talked about last year. looking at scheduling an official date and time for an official city commission workshop in order to create a set of core values, mission, and a vision for our city. We talked about this. So we talked about having this workshop. We said we'd be okay to have a workshop. Now I'm bringing it back and find out, can we schedule a date and
Bring
time
it
when we can have
back,
this
bring it
workshop?
back when the 2 commissioners are here, when all 5 of us
All
are
right,
here.
okay.
Because it's going to pertain to all of us.
Gotcha.
It's going to pertain to all of us.
All right. In the interest of time, I will cut it off right here. So you can leave. You can go home now.
You can keep on,
No, we're good. I'm
you
okay.
know.
I don't have a problem with the workshop. I mean, do we need to bring it back for everyone, or is it something we can have? Because we're gonna
We
start.
need all commissioners.
Okay, but we're gonna start getting into a real tough time when we start doing budgeting, because it's gonna
Yep.
be, so it may be planning it after, I don't know, because we're starting do we start in June with budgets? Yeah, so that's gonna be,
End of June, right?
it's gonna be pretty tight with us.
Yeah. So,
Do we-
Your workshops are going to be in July. Staff will be working almost exclusively on budgets in June, so.
all right, so we'll bring it back when the rest of the commissioners are present at the meeting. Okay, Mayor, your turn.
You sure?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the, if you look at our things for what we've worked on in values and things like that, we have things that we do and utilize over the years, if you go back and research. The other thing is, I was thinking about the comments the gentleman made a while ago about, I wasn't going to say anything about Babe Ruth League, but the Babe Ruth League is the Little League. It's a problem we'd have with Little League, that Little League took away our town and give it away to somebody else. That's why we have Babe Ruth League. And if I had to, any day I have to take and go where, and I'm gonna tell citizens of this, if I have to go cut out anything we're doing for young people, youth, to worry about us paying for it, then I'm in a wrong position. There's something wrong with you when you start talking about wanting to charge them. They're paying their way. A lot of them came and paid away. The league has to charge something where they can pay for some of the kids to even play. So the Little League over the years in this city has been a major part of what we did in the downtown. And I personally don't want to be one of the ones that go say we're not doing it for them. So if you ask most citizens, they'll tell you there's a problem with, because the youth hasn't got the money to pay the fees. But the major problem we had was Little League took away all of our south of town and give it to Windermere. So it took away our chance to have players that would play in the league. And that's why our league got so dilapidated without the players, because they took away. And on the east side, they took it away from the east side to give it to the Pine Hills. So that's what happened. We were left, and Winter Garden got the west side of town. So they chopped us up where we didn't have players. So, and I think that our part of what we have to fill out for the state to say that we're doing our part for recreation and things is what we do. And I will say that I think Craig knows that the soccer people have taken over that, and they're running anywhere from 400 to 600 kids, and a lot of them are from here. And the other thing is they give some of them free lessons, but they're also fixing to put in $200,000 so to the city.
Mayor, for the record, I was treasurer.
You can't talk out in the ordinance, Mr. Atkins. Mr. Atkins, I'm telling you. All right? You come to the next meeting, but I'm telling you. And if you'd like me to bring the Little League people up here, I'd be glad to do that. So if like I said, that's part of the joy of being in Ocoee, is having the Little League and Pop Warner football. We do the same thing for them. So anybody else got any comments? And maybe next week we'll have all 5. We can bring them all and talk about what we're doing.